Oh, y'all ready?
So, but I said, I'm going to wait till I interview Glen. But she told me, I was telling her about getting the antifreeze out of the water system today. She said, well, what about my car, my washer fluid? What do I need to put in it? I said, you don't need to put nothing in it. It ain't supposed to freeze. Are you sure now?
Yeah.
But you might need to come check. I said, no, it's washer fluid. If you hit the button and it squirts, it's just fine. She said,
Right.
all right then. And one time, she got a car. She had to have one of those, wasn't a PT Cruiser. It was one of those along that lines anyway that was overpriced and overdone. Well, she got it, and then it wasn't a year old. She said, I just don't like the interior.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to take it and get it reupholstered, brand new car.
Really?
Had leathered it and put new leather in it. Got back in. She kept it about another 6 months or so before she got rid of it. But I mean, it tickles me death by stuff. But whatever she says,
You're a good son.
I just don't want no trouble. Okay,
Right. I know.
I don't want any trouble.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble. And if she says it, I said, all right, let's just take it. But I said, but take a little time and think about it. I said, because man, when you don't have a payment, it feels so good.
It feels great.
I mean, you're thinking, man, you know, I mean, and you. The only thing I got a payment on is that camper, and I'm going to leave that for the kids. They can pay that off. But I mean, you know, the thing about it is finances. When we talk about money, let's talk a second about money. Okay, a lot of people, when they think about it, they never get any kind of freedom in their life. And I know there's debt that we have at points and times in our life.
Right.
But somewhere you have to work to get out of those debts.
Right.
And because you'll. And then you got to say, all right, I'm going to work to, there's an end to this madness. You know, used to be in the old days, you had a payment book.
Yeah.
And you would say, you keep seeing the things, but there's not no more.
No.
Now it's all digital, but you're thinking, man, but you're thinking that once, if you can get out of it and not justify going back in it.
Well, I'm going to tell you from...
You've been on every spectrum.
I've been on every spectrum.
Okay, you've been on every spectrum.
I've done good, I've done bad, I've called friends and say, can you loan me a little money?
Yeah.
I've been everywhere. At 51, I can tell you I'm in the best spot I've ever been in my life. This is what I tell my kids. I say, if you make $150,000 a year, don't spend like you make $150,000 a year.
Yeah.
Spend like you make $50,000 a year. Mm-hmm. Just because you're making $150,000 and you can afford that truck payment, that car payment, that big house payment, what will happen to you if all that was gone? Right. What if that job disappears and then you find a job making $70,000 or $60,000, where you're stuck with all these debts of somebody who makes $150,000 a year? So I always told my children, I said, I don't care if you make $1 million a year. Put your budget on somebody that makes $50,000 a year.
Yeah. Well, see, I think it will happen. I read a book one time about a guy who lived for 30 years off $130,000. Sold a house and stuff, and he lived. Now he lived in a like a camper and a van. He lived, but anyway. But the way he done, the big thing he stressed was most people concentrate more on what comes in, than they do what goes out. They don't concentrate on what goes out.
Yeah.
All they do is try to make more, bring more in, instead of taking a look at what's going out. And if you can really start, if people can concentrate on what's going out and say, all right, let me see, let me pay attention to the nickels and dimes and the dollars. Let me pay attention to that. And that's